Will Putin go nuclear? The Russian President Vladimir Putin recently has publicly threatened to use nuclear weapons, and he threatened it more than once.
Это не блеф. Это не блеф. Это не блеф.
How serious are these threats? Yes, some say that it is not a bluff, is the favorite phrase of bluffers. But nuclear weapon is something that is too dangerous to gamble with. So how serious is the nuclear threat? What are the odds of a nuclear war? The answer largely depends on what Putin personally has on his mind, considering Russia is ruled by one man, and this man, Putin, unfortunately, has lost touch with reality. Putin has been quite unpredictable lately. But considering that he often breaks his promises, his promise to use a nuclear weapon sounds not very threatening, especially because he emphasized that it was not a bluff. If Putin says that it is not a bluff, it can be a bluff. So the threat is coming personally from Putin, the sole ruler of Russia. But who is Putin? De jure, he is a president. But de facto, Putin is a monarch, a tsar, an autocrat, a pharaoh, whatever. Hang on.
Владимир Владимирович Путин.
Благодарю вас, пожалуйста. Хорошо. Прошу вас.
Sorry about the interruption, let me continue now. In the past 20 years, Putin was busy building himself a monarchy. Gradually, year after year, he was transforming himself from a president to a tsar. He deliberately took upon himself personal responsibility for all the national and international policies of Russia. He has exterminated all the opposition. Now he has a puppet Duma, some kind of a Russian parliament, which currently is a group of people who listen to each word that Putin says, applaud, and then do as he says. And now this man has an idea of using nuclear weapons, risking waging a nuclear war. What are the procedures of launching a nuclear attack on Russia? According to Reuters.com, it is the Russian president who makes a decision to use nuclear weapons, as it is written in the document called Basic Principles of State Policy of the Russian Federation on Nuclear Deterrence. A small briefcase, known as Cheget, is kept close to the president at all times, linking him to the command and control network of Russia's strategic nuclear forces. The Cheget does not contain a nuclear launch button, but rather transmits launch orders to the Central Military Command, the General Staff. The Russian General Staff has access to the launch codes and has two methods of launching nuclear warheads. It can send authorization codes to individual weapons commanders who would then execute the launch procedures. There is also a backup system, known as perimeter, which allows the General Staff to directly initiate the launch of land-based missiles bypassing all the immediate command posts. Judging by the political system that Putin has built for himself, in which he has a personal monopoly of power, it is most likely that the decision of deploying a nuclear warhead can be made by Putin on his own. And once he makes such a decision, it is very likely that there will be no one to debate it. Putin's order just will be obeyed. So on the one hand, Putin is a monarch, but on the other hand, he is a criminal person who tends to act against laws. If there is a law in his way, he whether breaks it or orders to amend it. In 2020, Putin organized adoption of the amendments to the Constitution of the Russian Federation. According to the previous version of the Constitution that had effect before 2020, Putin was not allowed to run for president in 2026, but Putin wanted to. This is why he organized the adoption of the amendments to the Constitution, according to which he will be able to be re-elected for another 2 terms, 6 years each. The elections will be taking place in 2024 and 2030. So Putin potentially can remain president till 2036. However, he will turn 85 in 2036. So the world is dealing with a criminal, a gangster, a bandit, a terrorist, who managed to gain the highest power in one of the biggest countries in the world. And he got an access to a nuclear weapon that this country has had for about 70 years. Putin is losing the war that he waged. Some of his recent decisions and actions have not been reasonable. Launching a nuclear weapon, if he does so, would be Putin's worst mistake. This could launch World War III, which will be a nuclear war in this case, and this could end the existence of the current civilization on this planet. A terrorist of this scale is probably able to do this, in case he is desperate. A desperate terrorist can probably blow up himself and the whole world along with him when committing a suicide. So the world is dealing with a nuclear terrorist now. The situation is quite scary. Putin has been irrational lately. Some bad changes happened to him.